Hello, everybody. This is the third take on getting this video to you guys. I wanted to put a face to my comments and your instructor, right? Anyway, what I wanted to do in this video was to walk through what we've worked on the first 2 weeks, what you still have time to complete if you haven't gotten to these yet, okay? And then set up week 3, which is a lot less work, all right? But 3 very important things, which I will get into. So far we did the introduction discussion post. Thank you for sharing something about yourself, guys. If you haven't done that, obviously get up there and do it. We did the 168-hour exercise and discussion post, right? Academics, non-academic committed time, free time. The point, that free time, right? One day something might happen. I want to do this, but this is free time for me. But there's something else going on that I should probably do. Yep. So you want to think about that. This is like these exercises in here. I think about starting points, right? So that's a starting point. It shows you where you're spending your time. And then depending upon certain things, how you can adjust that time, right? The 14 points of being a successful student and discussion post, again, a starting point. 2 things that you thought you did do well, and then 1 thing that you want to work on, right? And then how do those 2 things that you do well, is there something from them that you can take and apply to that thing that you want to do better, right? Starting point, it's about responding and moving forward, right? We went with the learning styles quiz and discussion posts, right? Again, that's a starting point. Are you audio, tactile, visual, right? If you score low on one, I would be thinking, how can I improve this? What can I do? I'm curious about this. What can I do with it? I think in the test, the quiz, they give you examples what to do. I know for the audio, I did something way back at Portland School of Art when I was my first year there in 1980. In a drawing class, Ed Douglas, at the end of class, we'd have our drawings up on the wall, and he'd go around and talk about not everybody's drawings, but many of the drawings, right? So I started repeating everything he said in those discussions, right? And I think that really helped me understand how to organize the formal elements of a drawing and what to look for in them. So the formal elements of a drawing are line, value, texture, shape, and color, but in drawing it's black and white gray, so minus the color go in composition. So we talk about those things. And it's those talks that, I think they really sunk in here, right? That's what I share with my drawing students, all right? So the learning styles. Once again, if you're even across the board, right? Say you're 35, 35, and 30, right? I might be thinking, this is pretty cool. How can I combine them to help with the experience, right? I think it's all a part of being aware, right? All right, so then we went into my main guide, dive, and discussion post. This is really important, guys. You want to be thorough there. You just don't want to look. You want to do a deep dive in there and see what's going on, right? And then you want to share something about it. You could help one of your classmates by finding something that they were not aware of that they needed access to, right? And you're also informing yourself. You are the beneficiary here, right? So, but in this, we do want to do a deeper dive in there. So if you're just skimming the surface, guys, you can go back in this discussion post and elaborate if you think you were only on the surface. I'd appreciate that. The iGrad courses, budgeting and financial aid, and the discussion posts. So that's really important too. Some of you guys are doing both of them, and I think more power to you, to tell you the truth seriously. I hope that those courses were informative and insightful, and you can take something from them and use them for your benefit, right? Whether it's financial aid or the budgeting. okay? And they work hand in hand, don't they? Creating your academic plan. So if that's still something that can get done, guys, what you want to do is you want to download the academic plan, and then on the right of the form, there's a column for where to place when you took it and or when you're going to take it, right? So it would say fall 21, fall 21, summer 21, and then you go to the next semester, you go winter spring 22, right? And then think that way. So you really want to see what's in store for you there, okay? So once you're done that, you want to email it to your advisor and ask them to check it to see if they see anything, any problems with it, and any insights they might have to say about taking classes when. All right? So we want to do that. All right? So I'll write this up. It'll be in the written part of the announcement, going over this, that I'm actually asking you to CC me when you email your advisor. All right? All right, so there's that. Then at the bottom, there was a library orientation certificate and a Brightspace orientation certificate. So all you had to do was submit those into the assignments, all right? So that's it for the first 2 weeks, right? And then we want to get into the third week, which, hold on a second here, guys. All right, there we go. So week 3, we're doing the Hollins Career Choice Survey and Discussion Post, okay? So it's another online survey, or some people call it quiz. I think it's a survey. And it's going to set up, it works within these scenarios. There's 6 work environments and 6 types of individuals. And then you're going to fill this out, and it's going to tell you something about connecting your type, personality type, with the work environment, right? So some of it's really, some of the things I remember from it off the top of my head are things like creative types like to work in an environment with creative types. And I go like, yeah, but there's the times when no, that doesn't really work great because of other reasons. So in here, it's like you want to get into that and think about that. And it's a starting point. It's something that you could be really kind of like reflective about and then go like, okay, I get it. This area over here, like, I don't think there's a personality type like bullheaded in there, but if there is one along those lines, then you might go like, yeah, I get that it's important to be a bullhead at times, but at other times it's not. So once again, you're thinking about responding to a situation, right? Along those lines, okay? There's also this IM discussion post. There's an announcement underneath the first announcement for this class. In there, there's a poem in there. I'd like you guys to read that poem and to put this in a little bit of a context. So, a few years ago, I went to Baltimore to sit for an Achieving the Dream conference. And Achieving the Dream is an organization of a network of community colleges that share resources and strategies for student success, right? So you learn a lot there. It's really incredible. How they start the conference off every morning is a student from one of the selected community colleges reads an I am poem to all the attendees, right? So it's an incredible range of poems from incredible students from all over the planet. So I think the poem I chose is from a Vietnamese student, right? And she's talking about her life in Vietnam and then her life in the United States. I'd like you guys to share that in the discussion post. Like, think about it. Write something about, like, who you are and where you want to be, okay? So I wrote one for a student success class a few years ago, and I'll try to get it in there, okay? The last thing we want to do is the mind map, where I want to be in however, right? So The mind map is think of it as a diagram. And you start with a central idea, thought, right? And so we're framing it as where I want to be. So let's say you want to be a baker, right? And so you go being a baker, right? And then off of that, you have a few spokes coming off. Let's say you have 3 spokes coming off this. One would be education. One might be studying abroad. Or no, starting a business. Education, starting a business, and then, promotion. You as a baker, promotion. All right? So you go to education, you go SMCC, baking classes, right? Then maybe off of the education, you have another spoke that goes Culinary Arts Institute, right? And then maybe you go like another spoke that goes entrepreneurship with James Beard. I don't know if James Beard's alive, but he was a famous baker for a while, right? So you got those 3, that spoke coming off of it, out of baker, education, what did I say? SMCC, couple other spokes coming out of there. What was the second thing I said? Oh my Lord, Chuck. Culinary Arts Institute, right? Coming off of that. And then apprenticeship, right? There. The business one might be 5-year plan. And then you just wing it and put some thoughts in there. Then the other business one might be location. Where do you want to be? Third one might be like, what type do you want to be? Right? What kind of bakery do you want to be? And then the last one was promotion, right? Online, printed, social media is online, community workshops, things like that, all right? So that's where you want to go in there, all right? Now, we're up to like 12 minutes, and I want to keep this short, but there's one central theme here that I really want to discuss. And that's what I think you might be aware of, but you're not quite sure when you start looking at everything we're working on in class so far. It's this idea of understanding where you are at this moment, all right? As well as where you are and where do you want to be, right? So that's what you're working on in here. So about 10 years ago, Bill Clinton came to SMCC to stump for Libby Mitchell, who was running for governor at the time. And he came out in a hub, and I was there. And he came out with a stack of papers, and the first thing I thought was, oh man, no way. But he didn't talk that way. He started talking, and he set up, the argument for Libby Mitchell. And then at the end of his speech, which was like half hour, 40 minutes, he says, there's only 3 things that matter, right? 3 things that matter in life. Where you are, where do you want to be, and how are you going to get there, right? How are you going to get there? So what we're working on, class, is that scenario, right? You're working on where you are, understanding where you are. You have ideas, right? And they're all good. They're all legitimate, right? There's services here. Understand that. There's networks here. Understand that. Access them, right? Now, go after what you want to go after, right? But how are you going to get there? How prepared are you going to be when something really goes south? How are you going to be prepared for when something's really flowing and you go like, yeah, I'm into this. How about this one? 2 things could happen on that path to getting to where you go. And they take you in totally different directions. And maybe one of them doesn't really take you to your goal, takes you to an alternative goal, right? So how do you assess that, right? So we're coming up on 15 in about 30 seconds. So I want to end it on that. I want to say, like, you guys, I know there's some roughness to this class with how things are. I'm going to get everybody a grade sheet so you can see this as you're submitting stuff online. I'm grading that workout, right? I'm paying attention to discussion boards. I'm quiet on there right now. I'm seeing who's posting, all right? So we have blasted through a lot of this course, right? So now we can afford to slow down a little bit before we get into the final 3 things. But I want you to, weeks 1, 2, and this week are really important. Be thorough with these 3 weeks, okay? And then so set yourself up because it's going to be a big shift to where you are, where you want to be, and how are you going to get there and getting into that. All right? All right, guys? All right. Have a good one. Bye.